Good evening once again. Here we are for Tales and Cocktails on a Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. And tonight we're going to have more sage advice from your guide to not getting murdered in a quaint English village. I've had so much fun with this. I hope you are too. So, first off, let's go to the pub. Locals gather here at any time of day to enjoy a pint of the famous local cider and have a chat. You, however, are not a local. The moment you enter the pub, you will be observed from every corner. Your habits, demeanor, and manner of dress will be noted. You are an insect that has flown into the spider's web. You will be wound in a fabric of pleasant conversation as you are consumed. The cider is very good, though, with a mineral-rich aftertaste. How do they get flavor like that? The village shop. It sells cheese, stamps, tea, and death. The village hall. An all-purpose building where every kind of festivity, meeting, or event is held. Every villager goes into the hall at some point or other. Their fingerprints are up and down the walls. The Floral Society goes toe-to-toe with the Amateur Dramatic Society. Sorry about that, let me start again. The Floral Society goes toe-to-toe with the Amateur Dramatic Society. The watercolor painting class encounters the jiu-jitsu class on the stairs. Harsh words are spoken about other villagers' poetry, their undrinkable home brew, and their Morris dancing skills. The village hall is a factory where pay grows like a petty, hobby-related grudge. Oh, you giggled at Edith's sonnet. Sounds like someone's about to be found clubbed to death with a typewriter, their mouth stuffed full of poems. The village inn. The inn's business model is set up to accommodate all the mysterious figures with pull-down hats and scarves over their faces who pay in cash and won't come out of their rooms, even for meals. On the average night, the rooms are occupied by visiting inspectors from Scotland Yard, Blackhead, and people who are already dead. The police station. It's just a mug of tea in a cupboard. There's only one constable, which is unfortunate, with all the murders and everything. I think I've done that, so we'll just go off to residents of the village. A village is not its buildings or its land, sadly. A village is the sum of its people. Eliminate the people, and the problem is gone. Except that the problem is largely the elimination of people. The town doctor. The doctor is up in everyone's business and must die, along with anyone foolish enough to pay them a visit. You don't need a doctor. You have the internet. Oh, I've done those. The amateur astronomer. They like to wander alone to remote locations at night with a big looking tube to circle around every word in that sentence that means no. Anyone who looks out windows, it's curtains for you. The thespian. They quote Shakespeare in public to children make nice story meat. Anyone who leaves a message. All messages in a murder village are bad news. It means someone knows something. Don't leave messages. Don't hang around people who do. The farmer. Constantly fielding offers from city folk who want to turn the farmland into a shopping center. Those same city folk who want to turn the farmland into a shopping center. The vicar. When you see the vicar, run. If you are not dead yet, the vicar is obliged to kill you. Village events. Villages are built on traditions. Since the times of old, they have observed the rites. Some of the details have changed, but the song remains much the same. Birth, death, planting, death, harvest, death, springtime, death, sports, death. The village fete. A village fete is a fair, a celebration on the village green. Judge cakes, drink tea, and whack toy rats with mallets. It's a nice way to spend a summer's day and thin out the local population, because where there's a fete, there is murder. If you enter a town where the fete is happening, you're already dead. The teapots are brimming with poison. The sponge cakes are full of glass. There's an axe in the fortune-telling tent. The coconuts are bombs. It's like the Hunger Games. The historical reenactment. Villagers love to remember the glorious old days when they used to skewer one another with sticks, fire muskets into one another's faces, and cut off their neighbors' heads in the name of king or country or whatever they were into back then. To commemorate these wonderful times, villagers will occasionally put on moth-eaten clothes and big hats and run around a field with dull pikes and unloaded weapons to show everybody how very grand it was behind the pub. It should go without saying that one of the pikes will be sharpened and some of the guns will be loaded. If you absolutely insist on attending the reenactment, do not attend the reenactment. Do not let your vigilance end there, though. The reenactment is often a misdirect. Another victim will die doing something normal in another part of the village, while everyone else is playing murder in a field. So don't not go to the reenactment either. All right. Now we go to the manor. At one time, and those who owned the land were all powerful. The manor set apart from the village, that was the source of its wealth. Back then, there was a servant for every whim, ensuring that the manor dwellers never had to answer their own doors, run their own baths, brush their own hair, or find their own ducks to kill. The manor is not a house or a home. It is an extension of a biological line, a symbol of dynastic power. Now it stands, barely, a shell of its former glory. The manor is too expensive to maintain in the modern world, now that people are so fussy about working conditions and salary. The poor aristocrat is a geode of privilege and honor to compress all the entitlement and rage of a collapsed empire into solid matter. They've had to sell the lesser turners, and the staff is down to 8. Most of the income is derived from tourists who have come to watch the manor crumble to dust. The manor is not a single house. It is a collection of buildings, structure, and outdoor areas. All parts of the manor function as one strange organism, a biome, if you will, designed to support the lifestyles of the idle rich. If you arrive after dark, assume the dogs will eat you. Don't believe the old chestnut that you can just toss them a steak and win them over. These dogs have been eating leftover servants for years and have developed a taste for tender human flesh. Here's what they haven't experienced: real love. Throw them a tennis ball. Ask them, who's a good girl? When you leave, if you leave, take the dogs with you. They deserve better. The gatehouse. They used to let orphans stay here, you know, to work in the kitchen and clean the chimneys. They lived in the cottage back in Victoria. Children all over the place then. Not sure what happened to them. I believe there was an inquiry. The stables. How would you prefer to go? Pitchforked or trampled by a 2,000-pound animal? Spoiler, it will be both. Statuary. They look so real, don't they? So very real. Almost as if they were made up of actual people. The Folly. It's a small, fake temple at the far side of the pond, perfect for picnics, trysts, and casual strangulations. The pond, full of the skeletons of Victorian children, and, if you are unwise, you. The hedge maze find a way out. It finds you. And now rooms and architecture. The interior of the main house is a puzzle box of danger, built and redesigned so many times over the years that no one knows what the real layout is. It is madness, secrecy, and familial hatred made manifest. Certain general precautions can be given. Higher floors, stay low. They can't throw you off the balcony if you never go up there. Try the stairs. The stairs. They are the xylophones of death. Lower floors. Marble busts and giant vases fall down, not up. The floors in general. They're fine if you know where the weak spots and holes are. On the bright side, you'll bypass the stairs. The attic. Good idea. Save time. Go right to the ghost part of the house. Okay. On memoirs and revising wills. You're mentioned in both, not in a good way. The gun room. Strangely, it's safer than the study. The library. It's best not to pull books down at random. Things happen sometimes. Bed. You never sleep alone. The locked room. Oh, that room? You wouldn't be interested in what's in there. It's very unique, but not your sort of thing at all. But if you'd really like to see for yourself. Furnishings and features. Obviously, each manor house has its own particular furnishings, but some elements are universal. Paintings. It's not just the eyes that move. Walls. All the chimneys. Orphan storage. Grandfather clocks. Boing, 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 bang! In you go. The piano. It's covered in photographs of relatives from many generations. So much family history. You can see the resemblances, such strong resemblances, really, really strong. With his coronation, is that James in a World War I uniform? Why are the twins in this photograph of a biplane? Who is in the pilot's seat? He looks just like the twins. And that's Reginald in the daguerreotype, surrounded by Victorian orphans out by the cottage. How is that possible? Why is he the only one in the picture whose eyes haven't been scribbled out? That suit of armor, the one without a sword, unlikely to kill you. It doesn't even have a sword. Wait, didn't it have a sword before? Anyway, this is where they put your body eyes and terrify the others. So there's really no point in worrying about it. See also that suit of armor, the one with the sword. That suit of armor, the one with the sword. You're about to be stabbed and put in this suit of armor to surprise and terrify the others. The sword will then be removed, which will alarm everyone when they realize it is missing. Now, the residents of the manor. The manor has been handed down over the generations. The residents will often refer to their family tree, but tree, gnarled and stunted biological formation. They are too proud and too cash-strapped to live anywhere else or with anyone else. So they reside under one unstable roof, waiting to see which of them will be the last one standing. The patriarch. He's delighted to see you. Come in, come in. He was just revising his will, cleaning his guns, feeding the puma, and drinking the contents of every half-empty cup in the building. Do you like deadly snakes? Come, come, you must fondle some before lunch. Mind you don't trip into this basket of knives. Who left that there? Roof. Snakes love roofs. The matriarch. She hates everyone, for good reason. Carries a loaded gun at all times. Has a parrot, Humphrey, who spies on the others. Leaves half-empty cups laced with poison all over the house. But, damn it, that only seems to make him stronger. He's on the roof again, isn't he? Marianne, the oldest child, cries a lot. Didn't want to. You understand, don't you? Penelope, the middle child, speaks 18 languages, is a cardiac surgeon and a qualified pilot, has 7 lovers, keeps a whip on her belt and a knife in her boot, works in the greenhouse a lot, always at night, feeds the parrot a string of lies, is watching you. Roger, the youngest child and the next lord of the manor, second of Spain, lives in a tree in the garden, has a pet toaster, ate one of his own fingers to see if it was as crunchy as it looked. Is Minister of Agriculture. Okay. Cousin Lucy. There we are. Oh, she's such a silly bucket, isn't she? Don't mind her. She's no one. She's nothing. She'll get you another cup of tea. She should have offered earlier. She'll do it right now. Oh, like her. Step over her. Step on her. Wipe your feet on her. She wants you to. Oh, she's such a numpkins. She's mislaid her basket of knives again. Have you seen it? Stupid, stupid Lucy. Reginald, the child, hangs out in the walls, keeps spiders in bottles, studies 19th century gentle procedures of major historical fires. Humphrey, a parrot. Come to the greenhouse, squawk. There's candy in the greenhouse, squawk. Money under the floor of the greenhouse, squawk. Don't be afraid of the greenhouse. Frequent guests. Certain people seem, they all have their reasons, none of them good. The spinster. You know, when preparing mummies, the ancient Egyptians used to remove human brains with a gadget that looked just like this crochet hook. I think the old ways are best, don't you? The colonel was in the war, you know. Isn't sure which war specifically. The private doctor. Ah, I see you broke a nail. Looks like someone needs an injection of morphine. The naturalist was last seen running into the hedge maze with a net. Very right. It's uncertain who or what was chasing him. Isn't nature wonderful? The artist. I painted her at her most beautiful. Did you know she died the next day? Terrible accident. Something to do with scissors. Ah, dreadful. So many of my subjects had died so soon after I painted them. It's just lucky, I suppose, that I captured them on canvas right before they left us. The actress. She's taken a break before her next big role, as she has been for the last 8 years, is desperate enough to marry Roger, or if come. The former governess changed the nappies of every single person in this family, including Aunt Clara, so is entitled to come and stay as often as she likes, as much as she likes. This means all the time and for a long time. Drinks sherry at breakfast, smokes cigars in her room, has a deck of dirty playing cards for playing solitaire. Keeps referring to all those naughty orphans I had to send upstairs. The staff. Unlike regular people, the residents of the manor require others to help them perform basic tasks. One simply cannot do without servants. There used to be many more, but times are hard. The ones that remain are loyal, or desperate, or both. Mrs. Ricketts, the housekeeper. Don't forget. Snood, The gardener. Never trust anyone with a favorite shovel. Wilson, the gamekeeper, is going to get that parrot if it's the last thing he does. Mrs. Danderson, the cook. Where the hell are the knives? Chives, the butler. Did it once. Manor events. Passions. Inbreeding, collecting stolen artifacts, and engaging in recreational violence. You must take care as you approach the manor itself and beware of any events in progress, especially a dynamic inheritance struggle. The shooting party. There's every chance you could wander onto the property in the middle of a shooting party. This is supposed to be a servant shape birds out of the bushes, while other servants carry and reload guns, all so that the aristocracy can shoot at anything with wings. The shooting party is like the village fete. This is how the nobles weed one another out right in the open. Always assume someone is roaming the grounds with a shotgun looking for long-lost cousin Hugo, who just showed up and got top billing, and will stay low. Don't make a sound until you make it to the door, and preferably not even then. Renovations. After the East Wing collapsed on some school children back in the 80s, the villagers made such a fuss. I mean, something had to be done. The renovations are still going on and will be going on forever, but there's no money for renovations, so they are never going on. The entire manor is held together by scaffolding covered in tapestries and child bones from the East Wing incident. Small human skulls are simply perfect for filling holes in the masonry. If only they were away. The weekend house party. Whoops, come back here. Did not call for that. Hello, hello. I'll get back. Whew. My goodness. All right, that was a bit of a surprise. I thought for a moment someone had murdered me. And I think we were up to the weekend house party. It's so lovely to get out of the city for the weekend and play tennis, have a picnic, do a bit of riding. During the day, you will be outside eating and generally recreating. At night, there will be a lot of meaningful stares over the tops of champagne glasses and sneaking from room to room when everyone is supposed to be asleep. What fun! Of course, no one is invited to the manor out of generosity or actual friendship. You were there to be a victim or falsely accused of murder. The dinner party. For when you want to be murdered, but you don't have an entire weekend to spare. This brief festival of poisons and pointy things is a case study in what people can accomplish when they hate everyone around them as much as they hate themselves. Much importance is placed on seating arrangements, because it shares on the Titanic mood. If you want to eat in a dark, gloomy chamber with many beady eyes strained on you, have dinner in a cave of rabid bats. You'll be safer, and the company will be more enjoyable. The open house. Come in, pause, look around. You simply must see the East Wing. Final thoughts. Wills. Well, these are a few final points before concluding this volume. Given what you have learned, You may be tempted to make out your will before you go on your trip. Do not do this. The residents can sniff out a fresh will like a pig sniffs out truffles. It does not matter that the residents are likely not mentioned in your will. The scent brings out a murderous impulse. The moment you step into the village, they will have you on a pike, and they won't know why. Let your relatives fight over the collection of meerschaum pipes, if it comes to that. Accommodations. It is usual to make lodging arrangements in advance. You must not do this. No one can know you are coming. That gives them time to plan. If you can, remain awake and moving during the entirety of your stay. If you must rest, try to find a hollow log or disused shed. Sleep during the day in short bursts. If you insist on staying at the local inn, pay with a credit card and make it known in an abnormally loud voice that lots of people know where you are and are expecting you to come back. Push furniture against the door. Close the curtains. Pry some floorboards up beneath the bed and burrow. Worry. Dining. One must eat while traveling, which is a pity on consuming anything while you are in the village or at the manor. Fill up on non-food items such as paper, leaves, or grass. Drink from puddles or catch rain in your hat. Certainly you must pretend to eat and drink, because the locals will soon sense something is wrong if you eat all the newspapers and lap up puddles in the streets. They will kill you just for being weird. Guidebooks. Whatever you do, do not allow guides of security, especially one that advertises itself as a way of avoiding the deadly pitfalls of an English murder village. While you've got your nose buried in a book, someone could be sneaking up behind you. Perhaps someone who wrote a book enumerating the various ways you could be murdered in an English murder village. Someone who gave you fair warning at the beginning and told you to heed its advice and dispose of this book. Someone who filled the book with amusing pictures that would make it all seem like a delightful wheeze, ensuring you would pay no mind to the sound of the door creaking open and the footsteps behind you. Go ahead, turn around, say, and I'm sorry to say we've come to the end of your guide to not getting murdered in a quaint English village. Again, Liz Forrest, thank you so much for sending it to me. It's been a lot of fun to read. And I hope it's given everybody else pleasure as well. So many laughs, and it's beautifully written. If you think about the various sections of it, it's really beautifully written. And I've had such fun reading it. So, next week, I'll have to do something a little more serious, just to balance. But anyway, I will see you next week, I hope, for Tales and Cocktails on Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. Bye for now.